Well, good morning. Good, beautiful Wednesday morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and we will be glad in it. So glad that you've been able to join me for just a few minutes, maybe 8 or 10 minutes. Take a little bit of time out of your day where you can come and worship the Lord, hear a little bit of scripture, and prepare yourself for the coming weekend when you can be in a Bible-believing church and you can be among fellow believers. I want to talk again today out of the book of James chapter 3, the book of James chapter 3, and we're going to be talking about verse 2. And this again is along the lines of taming our tongue. At no other time in my life do I ever remember a time that people need to tame their tongue more. That includes me. Tame the tongue more than we do right now. We are so ready to say what's on our mind. We're so ready to post it on Facebook. Let social media know. We're angry about something. We're emotional about something. We're not in a good place about something. And then we put it out on Facebook for the world to see, or we put it out on Twitter, or we put it out on Instagram. And then we wonder 5 or 6 days from now why people are upset. Well, that's because it's been out on Facebook. And the emotion that you felt in that moment, you put out on Facebook, I put out on Facebook, and people are reacting to that emotion, though that emotion, if we had just followed what Jesus told us to do, we would have let it pass. We would have taken a deep breath. We would have thought through, and we would have realized at that moment that it was better for our yes to be yes and our no to be no, and for us to move along and not put it out there with a bunch of emotion attached. Never a time that I have seen so much emotion and so little logic and thought among people. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Over in James chapter 3, verse 2, it says, "For we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is perfect. He is a perfect man, also able to bridle the whole body." And of course, we know that there is no such thing as a perfect person. We start right there at the beginning, for we all stumble. And that word is an interesting word. It actually means offend. We all offend. And we offend other people. Sometimes the things that I think offend me. And you know, that's pretty bad when you're even offending yourself with your thought. But we all sin. That's what that idea is there. We all stumble in many things. We offend through sin. We offend through word. We offend through deed. And it says in many things. And then if anyone does not stumble, there's that word again, offend. If anyone does not offend in word, if anyone, that includes all of us. If anyone does not offend in word, stumble in word, say things that hurt people's feelings, and when you look at that, I know there are those out there who will say, see, it was a man that offended. Well, no, this word he has the idea of the human race. So it's men and women both, right? Men and women, it's young and old, it includes the human race. No matter what we look like, no matter who we are, it includes us. If you do not offend, then as a human, you are perfect. Now that word there means morally complete. Complete in growth. Now that's interesting because we all know, and I think anyone who has an ounce of honesty inside of them knows and will admit openly that we all sin. We have all fallen short of the glory of God, that none of us are perfect, none of us are morally complete, none of us have grown completely, none of us have come to a place where we can say that we never offend anyone. If we are honest with ourselves, we realize that James is speaking to us. He's speaking to me. He's speaking to you. It says he is complete, morally complete, able also to bridle the whole body. That means that if you can control the tongue, you can control everything else. If you can control that little bitty tongue, we were talking about it this morning, and I was with a dear loved one who has just lost his wife. And I was talking about that, and I told them there are many times that I didn't just have to bite my tongue, I had to physically reach up and touch the end of my tongue or cover my lips, because what that is a signal to me not to speak, that no matter what comes out, no matter the anger that I feel towards the person, no matter the emotion, no matter how offensive what they have said is, it is a reminder to me to cover that mouth and to think about what I'm getting ready to say. What we talked about last week is still true. If you have a favorite coffee mug, I have a favorite coffee mug. If I drop that favorite coffee mug and it cracks on the floor, and there it lays, and there's two halves, or maybe there's three pieces laying there, I can take out the crazy glue and I can mend that cup back together, and I can make it so that it holds coffee again, right? The problem is that those cracks never disappear. The damage is done. Why is the damage done? Because I dropped the cup. It may not have been on purpose, but I dropped the cup. The damage is done. Therefore, the cup never looks the same. People may forgive us, but they never forget. See, the Bible tells us over in 1 Corinthians 8, verse 9, I believe it is, that it says, "But beware, lest somehow this liberty," meaning freedom from sin that Christ gave us, this liberty and love that Christ gave us, of yours become a stumbling block. There's that word again, an offending block, something that people stumble over to those who are weak. We have to be very careful with our mouth, and no time like the present should we take what so many great people have said before and just take the opportunity to be silent often and just to think through before we say anything, be it our mouth, be it what we say online, be it however we say, however we talk. What a great time for us to think about that, let the emotion bleed out, and then the next day, if it still seems very important, say it. But let that emotion go, let some logic in, and let's try to get control of our tongue like Jesus told us to have. I love you. I know you love me. I am praying for you. I'm praying for this nation. I'm praying for this world. I know that you pray for me. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. I hope you find a Bible-believing church on Sunday. And I hope you have a great day today to go with that great rest of the week.